Hey, deserving listeners, Love is Blind, Season 7. Let's watch and see what happens.
And he wants to get there, he just never really had the chance to get there.
You gon' be the best that I ever had. Only needed once, I be so attached. All these other girls never be like that. I won't throw you back, baby, you a catch.
It's so nice to meet you, Nikki D.
It's great to meet you too.
He's in the flesh.
In the flesh.
I have a prediction that this woman, who I don't know the name of, have they shown us? I'm sure they did, has come on the show, has come to the party wanting to drum up false drama or lean into the drama. Maybe she's the nicest person on the planet. Maybe she proves herself to be very nice at this party. But I didn't show all the clips, but there's these little bits of communication that she exhibited that seemed to come across like the way other people come across on reality TV. She was saying a couple of phrases earlier that I was like, am I watching Love is Blind or am I watching one of the more typical reality TV shows where people are just like, I'm not here to make friends. She didn't say that, but it was something like that. And I thought, she's here to, mess things up. But there's not really anything to mess up because, I don't think anyone thinks that Nick and Hannah are going to make it. But, it's as I say that out loud, what if they do? What if they're a yes at the altar, which I could almost see given the way that Nick is approaching her, Hannah. He's very accommodating, so I could see him saying yes just out of that. I could see Hannah saying yes because she likes just how accommodating he is and how he is agreeing that he's below her and needs to be taught by her. So, I could see them actually in a weird way saying yes. But so we'll see how this plays out, which I'm guessing is going to be a little messy, but I don't know, maybe it's not.
Look at my man Nick. You think he's having a good time?
Sit over there, don't you?
Let them have a moment. But Katie looks like she's lining up, and I'm like, are you really my friend, Katie?
Oh, Katie is her name. Yeah, they had a conversation earlier before coming to the party. Nick and Hannah were talking as they were getting ready, and they were talking about, who are you going to talk to? Do you have any other connections from the pods that you want to talk to? And Nick was saying, yeah, I want to have, I can't remember the word, but I'd like to meet Katie. And I think they haven't seen each other yet, but I'm guessing they've seen each other's Instagrams before meeting in person at this party. Who knows? And then Hannah said, I don't have anybody that I want to talk to. We know that, Hannah was deciding between Leo, and she really was not liking Leo at the end, so she's not. I wonder, is Leo and Brittany going to show up? If they show up, then that'll be an interesting scenario. For some reason, I'm figuring that they won't, but why would I figure that? In previous seasons, the Leos and the Britneys always show up, right? And my contact on the show tells me that all of the cast arrives at the same time, and they're put in different rooms or vans, is what I was hearing about. That remember the lake party from season 6 US, and they were all in these different vans, and then the producers are like, okay, it's your turn to go. And a bunch of producers are also listening to all the conversations and gauging how much, the drama quotient over time. And if they're like, okay, we're hitting a doldrum, a valley, okay, send in the next person. So at this point, the producers are probably listening to this and going, okay, we got a good Katie, Nick drama happening right now. Keep the Britneys. Who else would be interested in joining? Well, Bowden already came. He arrived right in the beginning. And I will say that Bowden and Marissa and Ramses had a really great interaction that could have been dramatic, because Marissa liked Bowden and Ramses. But Ramses and Bowden were really good friends in the pods. So there was a little bit of an awkward moment where Bowden and Marissa were going, oh my God, because they had never seen each other. And it sounded like they hadn't seen each other's Instagram prior to the party. Who knows? But And then Ramses like, oh, I think you guys need to have a conversation. And he's like, I'll leave you over here. And they're like, no. And he's like, no, I'll leave. And then Bowden even kind of rolled his eyes like, oh boy, is he sensitive right now or something? Anyway, is there any? But then Ramses came back and everything was fine. Was it just Bowden? Yeah, I think Bowden was the only one that was in the edit anyway that actually, aside from Leo and Brittany, yeah, usually there's more people. Now, I was told by my contact on the show that Ray had a connection with Katie or with Taylor. So it'd be interesting if Ray showed up in the midst of Taylor having a problem with Garrett. Anyway, let's continue watching.
She goes to me, Nick's really attractive. I said,
Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned this or showed it, but in case you missed this or you're watching this 5 years from now or something. So Nick said that Katie and Nick had each other as their number ones. And that Nick said that just one day she didn't show up. So it sounded like she ghosted him, or they had each other as number ones, but it was really early, just provisional number ones. And Katie was pursuing other relationships and just didn't think it was necessary to have kind of a breakup conversation with Nick or something. But anyway, I think it's relevant information.
That's your type.
Yeah.
Right? You can't hold that against the next person you meet. Honestly, I was attracted to you from day one. I was like, damn, Katie's always on my mind.
I know you gave me goosebumps.
You gave
So he's kind of doing that Riz thing that he was doing in the pods. Is that how you use that word? I don't know. He almost has a little accent that he slips into. So I can't tell if he is actually doing that and he's doing it because he's nervous again, which is an hypothesis as to why he's doing it in the first place, or if he's legit flirting, or if he does this because he feels it necessary to please others. Given what we've seen up until this point with Hannah post-Mexico, there's a chance that he feels it's his job to put himself aside and just be pleasing. And his version of that is the charismatic Rico Suave guy. She just got done talking about how she's 35 and single, and she wasn't saying that she's a loser, but she was basically saying that she's kind of doomed romantically or is wondering about that. And so I wonder if he's saying these things just like, hey, I liked you and you're really great and I was really attracted to you. You're not going to have any problem meeting someone else. You should have more confidence, or you should know that you should believe in yourself. I wonder, because I can't imagine that with everything that's been happening with Hannah that he would just turn to someone else at the party in front of Hannah.
me goosebumps.
You get into the real world and you see all these people and you're like, oh, hey, love is maybe not blind. I mean, you were my number one for 3 days for a reason, right? Like,
Same here. I can literally look into like your eyes and tell you're a beautiful soul, like you're a beautiful person, like you're super ambitious.
And they're editing it, and we'll see where this goes. I'm guessing he's just saying these things because it's his weird way of trying to be nice, or maybe it's a good way that he's being nice. I wonder if, because for Katie, she left the pods without anybody.
You're gonna make someone happy as fuck someday.
you could like honestly make me cry over that. Thank you. I know you mean it. I know you.
Right. So that's what I thought he was headed toward. Was he's trying to be nice in his way, and it seems to be working.
I mean it, right? I'm super important on body language and impressions and stuff like that. And like, not even like looking at your IG, because like your IG is beautiful, by the way. But like, you're super.
Yeah, it's just a curiosity that I had that the folks would look at as soon as they get their phones back. One of the things they would do is like, okay, I connected with that Katie person. Let me find what do they look like? I forgot to say something earlier, which is that it's important for me to remind myself, and I'll say this out loud, that they in the pods, these are major connections that they're making. The complete sensory deprivation and social deprivation, and the intent to, oh my God, is each person you talk to in the pods, it's like, is this person my future life partner, and the intense conversations that you're having, and also with that everyone, or you suspect that everyone is there to actually look for someone to get married. That really just amps it up, right? Because when you're dating the real world, there's probably a lot of people who are like, well, I'm looking for someone to get married, but I find that other people aren't. Anyway, and for them, even though, let's just go with that Nick is just completely 100%, I'm all about Hannah, it was not that long ago that he was, at least for a time, and maybe going to bed at night thinking about Katie. And to get a chance to talk with her, and also there might be some residual feelings. You can break up with someone and 20 years later have residual feelings that don't interfere with your current relationships, but are there. Once you have that connection, sometimes it just never goes away. The way that I think about it is that we, as neuronal creatures, will, what fires together wires together. And when we're looking at someone and talking to them and experiencing them and we're perceiving them, and if we are having a lot of lovey, romantic feelings about them, it just wears this groove into your brain that associates good feelings and love and meaning and safety and sexual feelings with that person, right? And once you break up for whatever reason, those grooves never really fade completely. And so when you think about them or see a picture of them or interact with them, even if the relationship was really horrible, abusive even, then it's natural to have those neurons go, oh, I know this pathway. If you have like a grass field or something, there's certain trails that have been trampled on, and 20 years later, you could still basically kind of see that trail, and it just happens automatically. And so when people at these parties see some of these former connections, it's tempting to be like, what are you doing? Like, your partner's right across the room. But I think it's hard to resist that. And I think it should be allowed for, really. And, Hannah and Monica were talking, and Monica's like, we should go over there. And Hannah's like, no. And I'll commend Hannah for having a pretty good attitude thus far anyway, and being like, no, he can talk with her, and I'm friends with Katie. We were really good friends in the pods, and I'm guessing that Hannah trusts Nick and or thinks, well, if Nick runs off with Katie, then I guess it wasn't meant to be. Or does that mean that Hannah might not be into Nick? I don't know. So either Hannah is mature and is level-headed about this issue, or she's not really into it.
There is nothing I want you to take personal from what I'm about to say, but when it comes to maturity, I didn't think you were quite there. And I thought we got to a good point, and then at the end of it, it was like my mom's friends really fuck with me. Yeah. Like the older women really fuck with me, and I'm like, damn, he didn't hear a word I just said. Yeah. And I think beyond that was just the objectifying.
Interesting. So we're hearing from Katie's perspective, and we're hearing more Rico Suave talk. It sounds like they knew each other's ages, and Nick 28, her 35. That's not a huge difference, but that maybe the flirting from Nick was, oh yeah, I like older women, my mom's friends fuck with me sometimes, and I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to given the other things that he was doing. And Katie might have been eating it up. I don't know. But then now she's saying it was, and beyond that, it was objectifying. Interesting.
Yeah.
Like that one date you were like, oh, I just know you're sexy. I know you're this. I know you're that.
I'm sarcastic. I like to joke around. If you said something to me, I'm like, damn, that's sexy. I don't mean it in that way. You didn't.
Sarcastic? I don't know if you know what the definition of sarcasm is. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I hear that, you'll hear that sometimes. Someone will not really know why they say things, and they're being criticized or called out for saying things that are bothering other people. And they'll be like, I was just being sarcastic. I was just joking. It's that kind of excuse. And you're thinking, no, that's not it. It's something else. So I don't know if he's really hearing it. I didn't really mean it in that way. You didn't see a future in me. I'm guessing that if Nick were self-aware, he felt like actually saying what was going on, think what he would say is, when I get nervous, I put on this persona, which, I'm okay with. It's a part of me. It's not like a false thing, but it's a version of me that you guys were calling Rico Suave. And it's also a part of me that I've learned is trying to please others. I am trying to pump other people up, kind of like the way I was doing earlier. Again, it's not false, it's true, but it could become a problem because it is out of anxiety and not really out of a connection or a mutual desire to make each other feel okay. And a part of that mode is, from my experience, and maybe I'm wrong about this, is I found that women like to be considered sexy and smart and interesting, and when I pay attention to women and try to gain their favor or make them feel better, I can take it too far, and I end up saying all this kind of sexy talk, and and I mean it. I'm sort of going down that road in my mind, but it sounds like I went too far with you in the pods. I'm guessing that's probably what happened, but I don't know. What do you think?
That's totally fine. But just know that, like, I really like talking to you.
I think you lead with your charm and your charisma
Yeah.
too hard.
Okay.
I think you're such like a beautiful and a deep person.
Yeah.
Like, I would challenge you to lead with that.
Okay.
I remember talking about your family, and they just sounded amazing. And I know you are this person that's filled with value.
Well, this, I thought this was going to be like all drama and that she was going to try to steal him or flirt with him or something. But, this is... I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this is what I'd be saying if I had a chance at a party to get something across. I mean, personally, it's not the venue. Or if I had an impulse, I would say, I have some thoughts about, do you want me to get, because I'm just another person. I don't want to like tell you anything. But she's saying that he's a deep person and that the charisma bit is not necessarily the way to go. That's interesting.
I think you're this person that's filled with a whole heart. Lead with that, right? Like, don't lead with like, I know you're so sexy. I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 100% behind that. I think that's a defense mechanism. Yeah. Huh. Wow, this is going the complete opposite of what I thought it would go. Good for her. Good for her.
I think that's a defense mechanism, which is maybe coming from a place of insecurity. But I'm here to tell you, like, you are the whole package.
Yeah, I wonder if it's getting through to him. He's kind of, I don't know, what is he absorbing? Is he shutting down? Is he disagreeing? Is he freaking out? What's happening? Does he not know how to respond? Yeah, I'm trying to imagine if he was absorbing this, what version of him would be displayed, which we haven't seen, right? We've basically seen two versions, the Rico Suave and then the over-accommodator. We haven't seen him self-reflective. If I'm close to the mark regarding my hypothesis about his putting himself aside in all contexts, even the charisma persona, which I've talked about already in terms of how that could come across as Rico Suave and maybe arrogant and self-centered, and yet be the opposite internally where he's actually putting himself aside. But, it's arguable that his two modes that we've seen, which I'm guessing there's much more to him. I'm not guessing. I'm sure there's much more to him. But those two modes, it's possible that neither one of them involve him confidently or feeling safe or comfortable with, I guess that is me, the real him. I wonder if we've seen the real him.
I got to experience that as a single person and moving on until whatever is next.
Yeah. I'm happy where I'm at. I've learned to mature and be socially aware and like be aware of the words I say. But I've learned a lot to grow as a man and mature.
I think the world of you. Like
Yeah, I can't tell, obviously, from that, but one could say that all the things that he just said were not really about him and his needs and who he is and his vulnerability, his core. We haven't seen that, I don't think, and I don't think we've heard it in that little bit there. It was, I've grown and I've learned about how to watch what I say. That's about what other people want for him, which is good that he's paying attention to that and growing in those ways. But I just wonder about his core. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, I want to remind you, truly, take care of yourself and think about it. When I say take care of yourself, think about what that means. What does that mean for you now or today or tomorrow or the big picture? Like, what do you need taken care of? What are your needs? What are your goals? What are your aspirations? What are your pains and your fears and your aggravations? That rhymes. It's sort of like a haiku or a poem or something. And then, and when I say take care of yourself, I don't mean just you. Taking care of ourselves means advocating for ourselves, asking others, cultivating relationships where people notice our needs and take care of us. Just that whole thing. Because we deserve it. We really, really do.